Before we get to Cauchy's integral formula, there's one notion that I want to introduce. So we're going to let gamma be a piecewise smooth, closed, meaning that it starts and stops at the same point. So it's going to be a piecewise smooth, closed path. I don't care if the path is simple or not. So remember, a simple path is one where it doesn't intersect itself. And then a path is not simple if it is allowed to intersect itself other than at the endpoints. So we're going to let gamma be a piecewise smooth closed path. And then we're going to say that gamma is positively oriented if it has the following property. So gamma is positively oriented. This is, I think, easiest understood when we're talking about simple curves. So gamma is positively oriented if it has the following property. So here's the idea, and then I'll write it. So imagine you have some curve. Okay, so here's a simple curve. It starts and stops at the same point, and it's going to be positively oriented if it travels in this direction. And the way to think about this is that this curve is going to split the region, it's going to split the complex plane into two pieces, inside the curve, okay, and then outside the curve. And it's going to be positively oriented. This curve will be positively oriented if, as you travel along the curve, inside of gamma is always to the left of where you are. So if you think about if you were to kind of just walk along this path, and if you were to stop at any point, inside the path is to the left of where you are if you're standing, kind of walking along the path. So that's positively oriented. So we'll say this, that gamma is positively oriented if the inside of the path gamma is to the left as you orient the path. Okay, so that means that something like this is positively oriented, because again, as you go around the path, the inside would be to the left. Okay, so you just kind of have to imagine that you're walking on top of this, and then when you look to your left, I know that the image might be reversed, so that might be a bad image here, but to the left is the inside. So that's positively oriented. If you were to have a simple curve like this, and if you were to travel this way, this would be negatively oriented. Because here, as you travel around, inside of the curve is to the right. So this is negatively oriented. And then the same idea applies, I'm not going to write out the strict definition, but the same idea applies for non-simple curves. So if you were to have something like, this, here you need to just be a little bit careful about what you mean by the inside of the curve, but positively oriented would still be pointing in this direction. Okay, so you would still be like this, and so you would travel. Okay, so that would still be positively oriented. The other way around would be negatively oriented. Okay, so this is still positively oriented. Okay, but that's what it means for a curve to be positively oriented or not.